he doesn't want to move, and I spoke to him the day about it, and he says that it's for him from the minute he gets up to the minute he goes to bed. Yeah, well, it was a booklet, wasn't it? And it was saying which houses were coming down. It was this booklet, and it had the map on, and it says these blocks of houses.
I think he just threw it to one side, didn't he? He wasn't keen on it, and he didn't want nothing to do with it.
Was he ever asked whether he wanted his house demolished or not?
No, he wasn't asked. No, he was told. He was told it was going to happen, and that was it.
Yeah. And you know what they're going to put by my dad's house is?
Shrubbery.
A field.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
A bloody field. The team somebody that was to put a bloody field.
And then didn't a guy come? And he got funny with my dad, and my dad told him to get out of the house. And he went to the neighbour next door, and he says, "That old git round there," and he swore at me and blah blah blah. And he said, our husband said, "Old git," he says, he's respected in this area, and he called him and chased him out of his house as well. What did he say to you? The government have given up on me, so why should I?
Yes,
you know,
yes,
and that's what he's saying. He's actually given up on himself.
Come all of you Geordies, and I'll tell you my woes. I'm an old man from Walker, born 85 years ago. Brought up my family, 7 kids and a wife. It was hard, but we managed. Lived here all of my life.
When I was young in 63, I went with Dad to fetch a tree. I knew right then where we were heading. We used to play there, it was our heaven. Dad spotted it up on the hill. We had to hurry and go for the kill. He dug a hole just so deep. I knew right then it was ours to keep. We nearly lost it once or twice. My dad said, "Let's give it a bit of spice." He gave the tree its favourite meal, brown ale, rotten veg and tatty peel. The tree was small for us to climb. Our kids made up for that in time. We've watched it grow year after year, dropping apples everywhere. 43 years we've watched it grow. What will happen in years to come when the houses come down and the streets are gone? I wish that I could save the tree the way we did in 63.
Got on with my neighbours and all of their kids. When their bikes needed mending, well, that's what I did. Shared the veg that I grew in my garden plot. But what's a good neighbour to them and their lot?
Well, you can imagine what it was like, and we had the meeting in here, and it was mayhem, it was bedlam, because they were going to pull, as far as we were concerned, the whole estate down. And we argued over it, and they decided, well, they'll just pull the top end down.
Knocking down good family homes, especially as they're not going to rebuild the same amount.
Makes me cry when I see them houses come down, and people wanting houses like your son.
The houses are old, yeah, fair enough, but to me, if they done them up, I don't think that to totally demolish. I really don't, because them houses are well built, but all they need is it just done up a bit.
Sturdy housing, you know, why can't they just build them up, like sort of give them a proper facelift?
And I'll tell you something, it grieves me when I come up and see all those houses pulled down, and people wanting houses, desperate for houses, and they're pulling those houses down. I think to myself, what a disgrace. When we chose places for people, they said they would stay ahead of the game. That was their thing, ahead of the game. They would build houses, knock the houses down, like they've done on the Cambrian. They would do that on Pottery Bank, but that hasn't happened. You know, they've just moved the people out. And they say, when we ask, they'll say, well, where are these people gone? Oh, they're all in Walker. Now I know some who've moved to Walker Gate, you know. And you see they've pulled all those houses down. There's not a spade being put down in that ground.
I think the worst thing is that block, right, everybody knows everybody. Most of the people there have been there since we were kids. You know, I mean, you could say about five people.
All the older ones, you know, the ones that have lived there all their lives, they should have got them all together and said, right, we'll build one of these streets for you.
If they're knocking down homes, people can't get rehoused in this area. Right. My son could end up not in Walker without his family around to support him, My son's got mental health issues. At the end of the day, if he hasn't got his family to support him, who is going to support him?
I was decided to pull all the houses down and not rebuild them the same time. Because I remember the Walker promise when it first started. And there's people out there who are expecting the house will come down, but there will be houses there for them to move into. Like what's happened in Cambria. It's obviously never happened in Pottery.
Yeah, one of the challenges with Walker is responding to our objective, the government's objective, and I believe it's also the City Council's objective, which is to establish mixed income, mixed communities to create sustainability. Now, Walker, it's well documented, it has lost a lot of population and thereby has lost a lot of services over the last 30 plus years. So its offer as a place to attract people into isn't as great as other areas, its competitor areas. Okay, our organisation wouldn't subscribe to building 70% for rent and 30% for sale, given the paucity, relative paucity that Walker has of owner-occupied property. The intention has always been to try and redress the balance, provide more choice, and to offer more housing for sale than housing for rent.
After all, people are Pottery Bank can't afford £100,000 for houses.
People can't afford it. I mean, if they could afford to buy the houses, they would have bought them years ago.
That estate down there should have been built solely for the people that were leaving this estate.
My house had a sunset and a beautiful view, and a tree in the garden that the kids grew, and birds that I fed, and apples I picked, and memories of children in the branches so thick.
And he loved the view as well. He loved this view. He said they only want this place because of the views. I'm going to take it off us because they want this view and across the Tyne, didn't you? And
Have you looked out at the big empty space and the view that's there? What we've always said, what they'll do when whoever comes into the area, it'll build yuppie houses. They won't build houses. We always said it's an extension of the St Peter's Basin. This is what they're looking at coming right along. That's our opinion. Whether it's right or not, I don't know.
because they want the land for just an extension to the quayside. They're coming all the way along this river. That's why they want this, because it's got lovely views onto the river. They want it for the yuppies, for people to come into Newcastle, driving the working class that way.
And I mean, it was lovely. We had the river, we had St Peter's Basin, it was just beautiful. You could see right up to the Tyne Bridge, and then up here was Windy Nook, and it was just absolutely fabulous. We wish we were still here, don't we, Mary?
Well, indeed, none of us wanted to move, but it was, it wasn't an option.
Forced out.
You were forced out?
Well, excuse me, it's bluttering, but we all received a letter from a London firm of estate agents offering to act on our behalf in the compulsory purchase of our property. That was the first actual intimation. We had heard rumours, we'd been to meetings, but there was nothing that we hadn't been told anything.
You moved before
Oh yes, I just couldn't, I really couldn't take the tension and the waiting.
Yeah, and Nelson, he was just ill about it. He just stressed himself to bits over it,
That was your husband?
Yes.
But it was said nobody would invest in Pottery Bank because of the other houses that were being left. Builders and that wouldn't come and invest in Pottery Bank.
Well, that means if we don't want the land because we are here, we're going to knock ours down.
One day they came and they gave me the news. Your house must come down and you'll have to move. I said, I'm not moving.
Oh, Mr. Carr, yeah, he says, he's the one that'll not move. He says, but at the end of the day, he says, we'll just evict him. We didn't know we were his daughters, did he? He went, we'll just evict him.
They said, you've no choice, 'cause me and my kind they take no notice of us. And now I've got a new home, but it means nothing to me. I walk down to the front gate, but there's no one to see.
He always had someone to talk to. All you had to do was walk out to the gate and there was always someone there to talk to. You know, they would stop in the street and have a good conversation with him. He was happy because the dogs were out at the front in the front gardens and enjoying themselves.
He's just went downhill basically, and he's
like a bag of bones.
He's not going to last long, he's not.
Nobody should be forced out the home. Nobody.
And he's just getting confused. It's
and aggressive.
It was just awful. It really was. I don't know if there is a good way of going about these things, but they certainly didn't do it well.
As places for people, my comment would be, we will actually develop drawings for housing, when we are clear what the city and the other partners, and for that matter the community, want designed and built down there and where they want it. It's not a quick operation, and you could legitimately say, well, why hasn't that all been done? It hasn't. Why? I think there's probably a number of reasons. I think we've found it quite difficult, as you probably sensed, to get a clear steer as to what is going to be accepted in terms of scale of clearance. It's no one organisation. It would be wrong for me to say the council hasn't been clear. There's others that need to bring their fund into it besides the council. The council can agree the policy, can agree what should happen where, but the council hasn't got it in its bank, the money to do up Pottery Bank. It depends upon other funding streams that all have to be lined up.
You don't just start thinking, oh, we'll pull down Pottery Bank. All them years ago.
No, there has been bids. Bids have been made.
To be told, all right, we still haven't decided what we're going to do with it. What's the point in deciding to pull down houses if you've got no clear plans on what you're going to do? That is just stupid. Their dad could have stayed in his house. He could have lasted his last few days there.
It's got to be through collaboration, but it's got to be tailored to a very, very local level, and that's the real challenge. The community are great at working at a local level. They understand everything far, and agencies never will understand that. But we've got to try and get agencies working a lot closer on the ground and being prepared to challenge some of the citywide policies that stop them from doing things that they need to do at a local level.
If there's no trust, if there's not full trust, ultimately I don't think this regeneration programme will succeed.
One's telling you one thing and the next time you go, and time they're talking to you doing this, they're doing something else. You know, they weren't honest.
Why did you decide not to go to any of the meetings at all?
Because it was a waste of time.
I think once the developers and the council have set their mind on what they're going to do, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think the council already made their decisions. And what is the point in going along to something where the decisions have already been made?
All these meetings where they're saying, put your ideas forward, I think they've already got the plans in the back of them. I think they're just trying to pacify people.
I think they knew exactly what they were going to do, and it doesn't matter what any people like me say.
So why did they bother inviting you along then?
I think we're ticking their boxes. That's all it amounts to. We're ticking the boxes. They've got to have consultation.